Amidst a disastrous jobs report, cataclysmic stock market crash, and signs of an impending recession, Donald Trump's Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick, is making the rounds on conservative media, publicly panicking and losing his temper as the walls close in. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, this is really interesting to watch. This cabinet, Secretary of Donald Trump's, Howard Lutnick, lose his composure as the data come in disastrous ways for the Trump administration. Here's one clip of Lutnick on Bloomberg TV lashing out at the host about data Lutnick does not like.
Data has been softer, and a lot of these companies in these surveys have pointed to tariff uncertainty. Do you accept that the business community needs some clarity, or whether it's 25, 15, 10, whatever the number is going to be, that the volatility around the trade story, the cumulative effect of persistent uncertainty is starting to eat into this economy a little bit?
No way. I mean, the president spoke about it last night. He said Biden left him a pile of poop. Okay? He left him a lousy economy that he's trying to fix. You're looking at data that's Biden data. Do not try to besmirch my President Trump with Biden's nonsense.
You think the ISM manufacturing number is Biden data? I just want to be very clear. That's your opinion. You're entitled to it. You think that's his data and not yours?
Of course it's my opinion.
Okay.
What possible could change? Seriously, we are in early March. My president took over January 20th. You think economic data coming out in early March is Donald Trump-related data?
Monthly survey data?
You gotta be kidding me.
Mr. Secretary,
Stop it.
Are you suggesting, we don't have to get into an argument about it, are you suggesting that when bond yields drop in a market that's worth trillions of dollars and investors place bets off the back of that economic data, that data doesn't count for anything, that data is somehow misleading?
I think that data is leading you to understand if Joe Biden was still in charge, you'd be in trouble. But you have a new president, there's a new sheriff in town, and I would bet on the economic growth that is coming from Donald.
So again, Lutnick losing his mind over data he doesn't like. Oh, it's about Joe Biden. Well, actually, the reporter gave you the reason of the surveys. People are afraid of your tariffs, of the Trump tariffs, which Trump imposed 25% on all imports from Canada. 25% tariffs on all imports from Mexico, and an additional 10% on all imports from China, bringing it up to 20%. That's not the Biden policy, that was the Trump policy, which you all initiated for absolutely no defensible damn reason. So, yes, it is your fault, Mr. Secretary. And yes, Democrats are totally right to try to pin the blame on you. And if the shoe was on the other foot, you wouldn't be saying, oh, it's just a month into the Democrats' presidency. You'd be saying the same sort of things that are being said against you. Now you just don't like the fact that the shoe is on the other foot. And I'll also say, if the economic data were more favorable for Trump a month and a half in, you'd be trying to take credit for it, too. Nobody's buying it. Howard Lutnick. So after his meltdown on Bloomberg TV, Howard Lutnick then tries to make his case on Fox News. And I would say his composure is better, but he's still unpersuasive.
And listening, he spoke today to Justin Trudeau this morning, and I was on that call. And so I think he's leaning towards coming up with an idea that allows USMCA, the deal he struck with Mexico and Canada, that's about half of Mexico and Canada. It's about half. Maybe those markets for the next month get excluded from the tariff, and the other half. So basically, if you were doing trading with the United States of America and you ignored Donald Trump's agreement that he made years ago, you did it at your own risk. And so the president's thinking, now he hasn't decided this yet, so it's up to him. But he spoke to the big automakers yesterday, so he was leaning towards helping them out for just this month. And then we need to see the Canadians and Mexicans put long-lasting protections in to protect America. Not this, oh, I'm doing a lot of work for the last 3 weeks. Give me a break.
Okay, so
listen to how squirrely he is. I think Trump is leaning towards basically walking back, at least for a month, the tariffs that he imposed, because he saw the disastrous domestic consequences that we discussed in videos yesterday. And then I love how he mentions the USMCA, the United States-Canada-Mexico Agreement, which is fascinating to me because it was Trump's deal signed in 2020, but Trump has spent the last 2 or 3 years shit-hawking that deal. It was his deal that he signed and boasted about. Now he's engaging in revisionist history. Oh, it was a disastrous deal. Disastrous. And Howard Lutnick apparently has forgotten the narrative here because he's like, that was Donald Trump's deal. And maybe to the extent that that deal applied to you, you'll get some sort of tariff relief for the next month. But also, I have no confirmation that this is the case for Trump. Maybe he'll decide something different. That's how panicked he's trying to offer some semblance of hope while also covering his ass, knowing that his mercurial, stupid boss could do anything between now and then. Not exactly persuasive. Here's another clip.
So, can you tell us today, will we see higher prices as a result of these tariffs?
Well, as the president said last night, there's going to be a short period of time where there'll be some higher prices on certain products. It's not inflation, that's nonsense. It's certain products for a short period of time.
So again, I love it. Remember, for the longest time, no, of course, there's no inflationary impact of tariffs. That's what Trump and his economic advisors assured us, right? And Trump was going to end inflation on day one. He was going to cut costs for the American people. Gas, grocery, energy, cost of living, health care. It was all miraculously going to end on his watch. He repeatedly, explicitly said that on the campaign trail in exchange for your votes. And now it's okay. Well, there's going to be some disturbance, like some uncomfort, some price hikes, but not like everywhere, just on specific things. You mean like groceries? Specifically. You mean like cars? Specifically. Mr. Secretary again, so squirrely attempting desperately to hedge because this economic strategy is absurd. Here's another clip, very short.
And Donald Trump is going to stand up for American families, and he's going to do it hard, and he's going to do it strong, and that's why we love him as our president.
Well, again, as we'll discuss in a separate video, the polling is not looking good for Donald Trump just in general, but even particularly with regards to the 3-800 economy. And I don't see how imposing inflationary tariffs on the American people, including his own voters and supporters, how that expresses his love for them. Even conservative economists who love Republicans, who love Trump, are begging him not to do this. He refuses to heed. Here's another clip from Howard Lutnick.
To figure out exactly what the strategy is.
So there's been never a step back. There was just a pounding forward move, which said, I need fentanyl and the border closed, right? Remember how we started this. You are our greatest trading partners, Canada and Mexico, right? If we are so important to you, why is the border wide open? Why do we have to build a wall? Why aren't you building a wall? Why aren't you respecting America? Why do you think it's okay to disrespect America? So what they did is they disrespected America. They had caravans coming in from Mexico. They had visas just flying off the shelf from Canada, and every criminal in the world and terrorist coming in through Canada. And the president said, I've had enough. You guys are totally disrespectful, and I'm going to teach you a bit of respect. So he says, tariffs. Then they say, hold on. We'll start to respect you. And they start doing work. Then Mexico calls and says, I'll put 10,000 troops on the border. And the Canadians say, I'll put 10,000 troops on the border. And he said, if you're going to stop it, I'll give you 30 days to stop it. Show me what you can do for 30 days. But does that sound a foot off the gas? That sounds like a foot on the chest. Okay?
So, Mr.
Didn't substantiate that claim whatsoever. Fentanyl traffic from Canada into the United States is a blip. It's a rounding error, number one. Number two, it was Trump who arranged for these trade agreement. So now he's saying it's not about trade or a trade deficit. It's about crime. He's moving the goalposts there. The fact of the matter is that Mexico has sent National Guard troops under Trump in 2019 to the border, then under President Biden in 2020, 2021, and again, under Trump in 2025. Biden got it done without the threat of tariffs. So what the hell is it that you're looking for? Did he give it away? There is the at the wall. Is that specifically what Trump is looking for by way of concession? And I'll also point out that, Lutnick again just gave it the game way, because he begins by saying, it's not a step back. Trump's not backing. Trump doesn't back down when he threatens to do things and then doesn't do it, or then pauses it, or then walks it back. That's not a retreat. That's just an overwhelmingly march forward. You couldn't get this sort of propaganda, this sort of state-fed propaganda out of Russia or North Korea. That's how bad this is. One last clip from the beggar Commerce Secretary.
Tariffs are going to drive America better. Remember, we pay taxes into the Internal Revenue Service. Wouldn't it be amazing to stop paying taxes to the Internal Revenue Service and have the External Revenue Service of Make America Great Again replace our taxes? That's the goal of Donald Trump, and I think he's going to hit there. He's going to do everything he can to make that happen. Lower our taxes. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on seniors. Come on. This is an amazing country, and we are winning.
So dumb, the problem is dumbass, that when importers pay those duties, they pass the import duty off to the consumer. No way are Target and Walmart and these retailers going to take a 25% hit on these imports and not pass them off to the consumer. He is so desperate for you to believe that we don't collect duties and tariffs and and these sorts of levies. Now we do by customs of Border Patrol. They are collected in that way. So the External Revenue Service would be redundant. But again, once those things are initially paid, the people who pay them, once they sell to the American consumer, will add that price onto it, because they're not going to take that hit. So ridiculous again. Just, you see the panic on this guy's face as the data comes back negative for him, as the walls are closing in for his boss, Donald Trump. And will it last? I don't know, because that trade war could end at the time. We're recording this by the time this goes live. Trump may have been like, I changed my mind. Canada agreed to be nice to me. I changed my mind. Massive concession. I win. You lose. But as of now, the trade war is ongoing, and it's not looking good for Donald Trump. And I think that's why Howard Lutnick is so visibly terrified. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.